Welcome to another episode of Sports and Songs Podcast. We're your hosts, Dan and Andy. It's Andy. It's season 3, episode number 28. How you doing tonight?
I'm good. Yourself?
Well, it's Memorial Day, May 30th, 2022. Happy Memorial Day. We've got a lot of things here going on.
Yeah, we got a lot of stuff going on. State high school tournaments are starting for baseball. We're following that on our social media sites. You can see all that fun stuff. College tournaments, baseball and softball had the selection shows today. So if you got the ESPN app during the day, you can watch a lot of that stuff coming up. Lots of good college baseball there. And just some other fun, tricky stuff we'll talk about today. We're going to cover well, first of all, do you have a trivia question, sir?
Yes.
Before we get
It
started.
relates to the NBA Finals. Now, we don't cover that much. More of a hockey group here. We'll cover that later. Basketball, NBA Finals are starting here on, Thursday this week?
Yeah.
Game, best of 7 series. Golden State Warriors against the Boston Celtics. The trivia question is, how many games has Al Horford played in his NBA postseason career with never making it to the finals? That's the question. He plays for the Celtics.
Okay.
14-year career playing center for the Celtics, has never made it to the finals. How many games has he played in his postseason playoff career?
All right. I'll take
first ever.
All right.
That's the trivia question. Basketball fans will obviously know this, I believe, but the rest of us folks, I just found that out today.
We'll be doing some counter here. All right. Get here. First of all, I'll talk about those box scores. Remember as a kid, I'd always look for the box score in the newspaper, and this is kind of what we saw when we were younger.
Yes.
This was the information I got in the box score, and this was beautiful. Today, it's more like this. A little more laid out, more cybermetrics and our stats, more this and that. Now, I've learned to accept this format, but I miss this. Sometimes in the morning, if I'm in a rush, I wish this is all it was. I need the bare bones. What happened? You know, they got the long names always abbreviated. You know, it's the Royals and the Cleveland baseball team. I could care less about either one. I just want to know the score. They're both out of it. Just give me the basics. Now, when they start going to this, do you think it's more because of cybermetrics, or do you think this has a lot to do because of fantasy baseball?
Oh, good question. I think a little fantasy baseball there.
Yep. We use baseball because it's that time of year, but football, the stats are more exaggerated during the football season. You know, hockey and basketball, you see that. The fantasy sports, I think, have made it more meat on the line there instead of just here's your box score, at-bats, runs, hits, RBIs, done. Now you get based on balls, strikeouts, how many they left on base, their current average. You know, now we both play fantasy baseball, so these numbers are important, but I can get those off my fantasy baseball site. When it all first started, before internet and Google and Fox Sports all had their own sites, the newspaper ad is what you had. That clipping is all you had for your information for a while.
That was it, yes.
Yep. And when you had just this, okay, that got you most of your categories. But what's his average at now? I have to figure it out real quick. Or you have to wait for Sunday's paper to see the league leaders all the time. I hope your guy was up there. You know, so these were nice. Younger generation have no idea what this cryptic writing is here. But you look at the one game up here I just pulled this out of nowhere. This one game here, St. Louis and Chicago. 9-inning game. And you look at the time down there. 1 hour and 44 minutes.
Yes.
4,000 people in attendance in Atlanta. So it's had to be late 70s. Or attendance, 4,000 people. It's had to be about late 70s for Chicago and St. Louis, where they weren't that good, bigger stadiums. Either early season was really cold, I'm guessing, or late, one of the two. But that's all you got. Now here you look at this. Oh, my word. All that information. Kind of getting away from box scores. We kind of jump. Crow River League here. we're Class C in Watertown, so we're talking about Class C rankings. These are from last week, and here's just a few people off the site I follow. And each guy's their top 10. Now, it's kind of like in college football. You got the reporters, the AP and the RPI they used to have. We got different ones. So we'll see how these all rank. Here, this guy's got Watkins at 1, Laconia at 2, Milroy 3, Jordan at 9. I don't see Watertown on this list.
Wow.
I go to Kip's list. He's got Watertown at 1, Delano at 2, Watkins at 4, Laconia at 6, and he's got different teams on there for his. Chad Knudsen. He's got Watertown 1, Watkins 2. Or he's got Jordan 5, Laconia. And he's got Buckman at 10. I didn't see them on their list. And Aaron Worm. He's got Fairmont 1, Watertown 3, Watkins 4. Waconia's at 2. So they're all kind of thrown all over the place here. Then here's the official Class C rankings. Watkins moves up from 6 to 1. Watertown drops to 2. Montgomery, not even ranked. They're up to 8. So a lot of these teams are thrown around on there. And I guess my point is, I know Class C is spread all over the state. God bless Kip. He's a great cover, great writer here for the Journal, Howard Lake Journal. But he can't go up and catch the games up of MLB. He can't go catch all these games. So he's kind of more of a regional one. So when I look at this, I take that into consideration. But with modern technology, you should be able to read the box scores and see the notes from other teams if you're going to be ranking them. I think if my job was to rank them, I would read the Bemidji paper, the Duluth paper, where all these other Class C teams are, see what's going on. But we got a lot of good teams here, a lot of good rankings going.
Yeah, it's interesting. Now, some of on the website, they've got an official website. A lot of teams either don't use that or they don't religiously put their box scores in.
Right.
And so it would be tough to follow all the teams as far as the articles. But it would be nice if they all had their box scores in, on a 2-day lag or something. But some are very religious. They do it religiously. They've got everything in. Some, they don't use the Minnesota Amateur website.
They're mainly do a weekend review on there anyway,
their local website. But you're right, you get teams that this is the second ranking, right? The first one came out to kind of start the season.
Yeah.
It's kind of fishy, and now it's going to get better as the season goes on. It's gonna filter out. But you're right. I had to look twice when I saw Montgomery Mallards on the list. Now, only one of the guys did the rankings. I think it was Aaron Worm, who even had Fairmont on the top 10.
Right.
They won the state 2 years ago, were ineligible last year, but I think a lot of the other writers, the folks doing this, either forgot about them, but they didn't really lose any guys, and some weren't even on the top 10. But Fairmont's another one that's going to be tough. Now we do have to keep in mind, looking at the Class C, folks are looking at where's Sobieski Skis, where's Young America, these perennial power teams. Where are those teams listed here? We have to keep in mind also the teams that move around. Young America is now playing in Class B this year. Sobieski playing in Class B. They're not in the Class C rankings. So we look at these things. We got to keep these other peripheral things in mind because Fairmont should be on there because they weren't last year, and some teams that should have been on there are up in B this year. So teams are also moving around. But I think it's hard to get these beat writers to do the rankings. So they say, you know what, we get 4 or 5 guys who do it, mainly covered from your region. You're not going to get that much information from the others, but I think it might be even a pain for these guys to put these together and then have a compilation. They got their own jobs to do over and above this. So I do think we get some disparity early in the season.
The one guy didn't even have Watertown on his list for top 10, and they were in the finals last year.
Well, that I have a hard time believing that it was missed altogether in the top 10.
Yeah.
Anywhere in the top 10. They went to the finals and they didn't lose anybody. They should be right back in there again.
Yep.
So you don't know how much time they spend on these, but the obvious things jump out like that because I read these too every weekend. It's very interesting.
Yep. We're going to The announcers. Now, okay, here's the Mets announcers. There's Gary, Ryan, and Keith. I watch all the Mets games locally on SNY or their local feed. When you get the local announcers, you get them. Here's the Twins announcers. You got Roy Smalley, LaTroy, Justin Morneau, along with Dick Bremer. Local announcers compared to when you watch the game on Fox. Here's the guys for Fox. The local announcers get more of a, okay, you get that hometown feeling because they can tell you more stories, but they're not making it like your high school hometown team where they're there. He likes to do this part-time. But you get more of your team stories. It's like, hey, this guy, when he just came up from the minors, they got a little more meat on that when it's local stories. The national guys are just trying to plug the big name players, and that's it. But here you got the Twins, with the exception of Buxton and Correos, they're all, that's what 2 stars. The rest, you want to hear their story, what's all about them. Yet when the Twins are on the national game, you're going to hear nothing but Buxton and Correos. That's it. Now, if you get the MLB app, you can watch the local feed from other areas. I was watching a Pirates game the other day. Bob Walk doing the game. Great job. The Tigers, those guys do a good job. The Giants have some good announcers. Because you just get the hometown feed, and that's something different. It's more fun than the national. That's my opinion. And radio's another side altogether because they're trying to paint that picture because you can't see on the radio side. Still give me that hometown feel. But do you think the national announcers, Dan, do too much on focusing just on the superstars and not the rest of the team?
Yeah, they and I think with their pre-production meeting as well, they're going to say who we're going to focus, what's the bullet points, what's the stories we have to have the background done on. So when we show video later, we got to have that already to show the story, what's all being covered. But they have to focus on being neutral, first of all, which is hard, and then just covering some of the big names. And you're right. When you go to the MLB app, you can go to the game that you want to watch, and it lets you drill down into the home or away team on the radio or the home or away team on TV.
Yeah.
Covering or the national game, so you can get a very different perspective. A lot of folks, I don't know if they're aware of that, but you can click in and listen to some of those different broadcasts. There's some very good announcers out there that we don't hear.
A lot of them are free. It's not a pay system either. You can get it for free too. The app, you get a different game every night. So,
and I think that I don't know this for a fact, but if you're driving truck or if you're over the road trucker, you get an app like that and you can tune into a bunch of these games regardless of the time of day, and you can pick up a lot of, if you're in your car, a lot of different games, a lot of different perspectives, all for this free app.
Oh yeah. And sometimes on the app, I got it where I listed the Mets as my team, so I get all the Mets games. But they also offer a free game of the day. Now sometimes it may be the 1:00 game in Chicago for the Cubs. Sometimes it may be the 10:30 start because it's the Arizona game or San Diego game. That's the way it is. But if you're a night owl or an early bird, good. But most of them are going to be your 7, 8 o'clock game, but you'll have the West Coast games on there, which on a weekend isn't so bad. But yeah, I really suggest you give the local guys a shot. Like I said, we got our rotating guys there with the Twins. The Mets have their guys. Ron Darling does some national games too, and I think he's one of the best in the business for that. Keith Hernandez, I'll tell you right now, if you ever do a Mets game, the stories you've heard about Keith as a player, about being a pompous jerk, yeah, that's still kind of true as an announcer, but he's honest when he's telling you if a guy's doing good or bad. He doesn't say all the Mets players are the best and the rest of the league stinks. That's what they like with these guys. If their home team is doing bad, and same with the Twins, they'll say it. This guy's not doing well. That's what I kind of like about him too,
And it's a competitive group too, because they get ranked and rated just like major league umpires as well. And the bottom ones aren't that good are going to be out, and the young up-and-coming folks are going to be coming in and slide into their place. So they're fighting for their job on an annual basis every year as well.
Well, that's how you get the national jobs. But I remember back in the day, it was 2 guys. The Twins have these 3 rotating. They had Jim Cott today, who usually does Yankees games. So you don't get that camaraderie of the same 2 guys all year. Yeah. Radio, you mostly do. It's been Corey Probus and Dan Glenn on Twins here for a while. So they've been there together for a while. Or when it was Herb Carneal and John Gordon, they've been together for a while. You get to feed off each other. That's pretty good stuff there too.
I like personally what the local is for the Twins, for instance. If you go back a screen, the LaTroy Hawkins is good, but you're going to hear from a pitcher perspective,
right?
What the pitcher's doing, what he's throwing, and what's he going to do to the hitter. Whereas you listen to Justin Morneau, it's all about the hitting. What is the batter doing? What's his approach to the plate? It's very, very different. Both are good. They're not neither one's right or wrong. But when Blyleven was doing it too, Burt Blyleven, you got to very focus on the pitching. It was all about the pitching.
I think that's like the Mets, 'cause it's a 3-man booth with a pitcher and a hitter in there. If they
do, okay.
If they had LaTroy, Justin, and Burt and Dick Bramer in there, that'd be fine.
Yes.
I know LaTroy does a lot of work with the team at spring training. So when our young pitchers up, he's always telling the stories. Hey, when I worked with him this spring, I was talking to him yesterday. They're the unofficial coaches or the spring training appointees or whatever they call it. But if the Twins would go to a 3-man booth with LaTroy and Morneau and Bremer, that'd be okay. I'd be all right with that. Because some like them, and if the broadcast is on, it's not who they want, they'll turn it off and listen to it or not watch it on television. Some are very favored, some are such big fans. Twins fans will just have it on regardless, but it's a very different flavor to the broadcast depending on who's the other man in that booth. Right. And LaTroy is very passionate. I mean, he's not excited like Harry Carey type passionate, but if we do bad, like there was a game the other day, pitch was outside and LaTroy forgot his mic was on and he disagreed with the call. That's all I'm going to say. It wasn't bad enough where he got fired or fined, but he pulled that line pretty close, But that's what I like. I like the Harry Carey passionate where, it was a little overboard, but local announcers, we get a chance to catch them on other formats. That's a good deal. Nothing against these guys on the national. They're great, but we're homers here. Speaking of the Twins, here's the attendance. I just put the top 10 and the bottom 10. Right now, average per game. Dodgers are first. Cardinals are second. Cardinals can go 0-162. They'd be in the top 10 for fans. They're just passionate fans there in St. Louis. Atlanta being the champs. Of course, they're going to have fans. They got over 1 million people already. They got 28 home games in, too. So the Padres are good. So those are all the way to Cubs and Boston are 9 and 10. But then again, they're always going to draw well, too. Look at the bottom 10. Number 22, Minnesota. We're a first-place team. Tampa Bay, playoff contending team. Tampa Bay's never been able to draw down there. Why there's still a team in Tampa, I don't know. I really don't. But why are the Twins drawing so poorly? Is it the weather? Is it the fair weather people don't want to be that cold? I mean, we all wanted the outdoor stadium, so why aren't they going?
Good point. Good, and that was one of the big reasons was Minnesota fans wanted outdoor baseball so bad. They wanted this stadium. And I think some of the early articles and the early reviews about getting this filled and getting the thing built is that it held 42,000 fans, and their estimates were, I think, even if they were doing good or bad, they were still going to be drawing 30,000 or more on a game-to-game basis. Well, that is so far proving not to be true. They're having a hard time, drawing 20,000 fans, and they're in the first place team. So that is the big thing, because now we get you build this ballpark and all these wild claims of we're going to be selling it out and all these sellouts we're going to have. It's going to push us into contention to be in the playoffs. Well, now we're sitting on a first place team doing well, weather relatively good. There was some weather bad in the past, but boy, when it's nice, you're still not seeing sold out. We're still not seeing 30,000 fans. We're seeing 20,000, if that. And so that is, I think your point, Andy, is right on the money that we heard a lot of quotes and claims of build the outdoor park and it's going to be sold out 81 straight games. Things to that effect.
With the exception of their first game, which was snowed out, they have no makeup games. They're all caught up on their games. They don't have any rainouts or snowouts they got to make up. So I know a couple years ago we had an issue where we had more postponements than wins for a while there, but that's here. So why didn't they build it as a retractable roof? I have no idea. They had to have open air. That's what everybody wants. And now we can't get 20,000 in there.
Yep.
I don't know how much has to do with the pandemic, fans not coming back. I don't buy that because other people are coming back. Everything else is opening and doing fine.
It's a lively scene downtown with the bars and restaurants there.
Yep.
You would think that it'd be a very favorable thing to do. It's in my mind one of the best ballparks in all of Major League Baseball, and we're still not getting 18,000 fans.
Easy to get in and out of.
The parking is right there. It's one of the best, but I would expect it to be in the top 15, if not the top 10 on an annual basis for the fans and the stadium that we have here in our midst. But we're hanging out there at spot number 22, Andy. 22?
Yeah.
In first place.
Right.
So one could argue the fact by saying, how much more are we going to draw? How much better can we do? We already have a first place team. We've got a great stadium. So what is the problem?
Buxton, who's a fan favorite. Granted, he's batting 200, but a fan favorite. They love him. You brought in the guy from Houston. So they're spending a little money.
That's the other thing that the Minnesota Twins fans have always had a gripe about. The Griffith family never spending money, always being cheap. Pohlad spending very, very cheap. Now we get some owners. We've got some money coming out. We're going after free agents. We're bringing in the big names, bringing in the big name players, going out there doing these deals. And I kind of personally thought that would push us to that next level. We're going to be in the hunt as far as attendance with all these big teams.
Right.
It's really not. It's kind of not it. It's not panning out. It's a nice stadium. I love it, but
and it's not like we're in first place with a cruddy record. We're one of the top records in the league, all of the league. I mean, they rank the top 10 teams for power rankings, and we're nationally in the top 10. Top 10 pitching, we're nationally up there. So it's not like it's a smoke and mirrors, 2 games above 500, but you're in first place. No, we are.
And they're really living off promotions as well. In every home game, there's some kind of promotion. In the past, there would be a weekend game or two that would have some promotion event, but boy, almost every game now has something featured, and they still can hardly draw 20,000 fans. Outdoors, nice weather. It's a good soapbox topic, I think.
And you could say, well, geez, you played Detroit and Kansas City and Cleveland, big deal. Okay, our next homestand coming up is, I think it's Tampa Bay and Toronto, or Tampa Bay, New York, or something. We got a nice big homestand coming up with teams that are contenders. School's going to be out. Those numbers better go up, or else, again, why?
Yeah.
Why? No.
And it's the difference. I don't know. You mentioned that the Cardinals are the second biggest team, and it's regardless of the record. Tampa Bay, also regardless of the record, no one goes there. I know it's a bad stadium, but they were a number one team for many, many years, and people just don't go to indoor Tampa Bay stadiums.
You can't give away tickets for that,
No,
and
it's an interesting dilemma to have, I think.
St. Louis, the Cubs, Boston, they're all going to be in the top 10 no matter what the record. Yankees, Mets, Dodgers, they're all going to be up there no matter what the record. So those 5 are filling for sure. Pittsburgh's got a decent stadium.
Oh, very nice.
I guess we would just go. They got a fun young team to watch. Detroit's got a nice young team to watch. I guess if you're the fan, especially on a weekend, walk up and buy a cheap seat and walk out down to the front row. They're not going to stop you. The sad thing is, you can do that right now in Minnesota, and that's sad because we're a contending team, quote unquote.
Yeah, it's an interesting topic. It's an interesting dilemma. So,
so that's. I think I love the sport. I like watching it on TV. I know people, well, it's boring. There's nothing going on in the game. The minor leagues has their things to keep you interested in going. The pros try to, but the pros try to remember they're not going to kill 3-4 minutes in between innings to have you come out and run around in a samurai suit either.
Well, the food options are phenomenal. Beer options are phenomenal.
Yeah.
It's not just a couple brands of lower end beer. It's anything you can think of. But then again, it's also not a sport. It's very expensive to go to a Twins game with the parking, the ticket prices, the food, the drink, and everything like that. Well, so you got this socioeconomic issue coming into play too. It's not just anyone can go to a ball game, but the food options, the drink options. If you're going to sit in the covered seats or the shade, if it's sunny, you can. If you're going to sit in the sun, you can. The seats are all over the way that the stadium is angled with the sun setting. You could get wherever you want to sit and you'd be perfectly comfortable, even when it's chilly.
Yep. And you talk about the vending prices. Yeah, they're gonna be expensive, but you know what? That's just, we know that walking in the door.
You know that.
It wasn't the PGA golf tournament last week. Did you hear about that?
No.
Can of beer, can of Mick Ultra, $18 at the PGA golf event. Even the other golfers are going, are you kidding me? $18 for a can of beer? So you call order tickets. It's all on here now. It's all on your phone. So you don't have to deal with the ticket agent, yet they're still charging you a $4 processing fee. For what? No one's processing anything. So I don't know if people get part of that part of it where they're getting feed and nickel and dime to death because they're thinking the teams are making up money they lost through pandemic or what. I don't know. But yeah, the Twins have this promotion, $9 seats. Well, they're in the $9 seat section too. You're not setting my own plate for $9, kids. Just stop that bus right there for you. Too excited. But it's going to the movies ain't cheap either. Yeah, it's $4 or $5 for a ticket, but that's $6 for a popcorn. So if you know that's what's going to be, it is what it is. Baseball, to me, you're going to get more memories taking your kid to a baseball game than any of the other 4 major sports. That's just my opinion. Because as a child, it's a little slower moving. They can enjoy it.
Yeah.
There's too much going on in football. Dad can't stop and explain to the kid what's going on because there's plays, boom, 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 boom. Hockey, in basketball, it is what it is. You can't really see. It's go, go, go. You can't explain to what's going on. So that's why to take your child to a ball game. Oh yeah, in hockey, they flip pucks up in the crowd in hockey, but you got a better chance of walking out with a souvenir at a baseball game than you do anything else either. Yes. I don't see a lot of footballs being thrown up to the crowd. I don't see a lot of basketballs being thrown out in the crowd.
You think the Twins, because they have their AAA team in the same across town, impacting their attendance and whatnot as well, and vice versa?
Yeah, I do. I'd rather go to a Saints game than a Twins game because, I'm sorry, I like CHS Field better. That's me. I just really, that field I like better. I just, sight lines from the few times I've been to both. They lucked out and got the great seat at CHS. I don't know, but I like theirs.
That's an excellent minor league field, yeah.
And just the whole, with the teams being close, I get why they're close. So if you have to call up a guy, it's not flying them in from Denver to Minnesota for your AAA team or wherever it was before. But I think maybe sometimes you could be too close, especially if your minor league team is contending. Okay, Jake Cave, great player. He's been in St. Paul all year. If I want to watch Jake Cave because my kid likes Jake Cave, I'll go into the Saints games instead.
Yeah.
Or whatever other pitchers, if so-and-so gets hurt, I'll go down to St. Paul, watch him games for a couple weeks instead because it's right here.
Yeah, I've had that come up when folks are doing some rehab assignments down in AAA. It's, the text will come in saying, hey, you want to go to a Saints game so we can see up close and personal, big name rather than going to the target field. You can. Yep. It's very accessible to do that.
Yep. And so, yes, I like the fact the Saints are AAA. Don't get me wrong, draws them more. Maybe it'd be more fun if they were the Brewers AAA and our AAA was in Wisconsin somewhere where it wasn't so close.
Yeah.
To go see your favorite. But that's
previously the Twins had the AAA and Rochester Red Wings, I think, in New York was the Rochester team. And so here it's very close, but one could argue, is it too close?
Too close.
We didn't touch on NHL hockey yet. You're a big hockey playoff. Tonight's matchup, 7:00, the puck drops. Rangers and Hurricanes. Are you going to be watching that?
Hurricanes are a good club. Rangers are the Rangers. So
that's the last of that second round playoffs. It's going to be ending tonight. All the other teams the field is set here for the Final Four for the conference finals starting this week. But that match tonight is Game 7. Always fun.
But like I told you before, I'll take the Stanley Cup playoffs over the NCAA tournament every day. For thrill of the game and exciting games, I'll watch Stanley Cup playoffs over NCAA basketball tournament.
Good. So that'll be tonight. And then I've got my trivia question is the answer.
Yes, your answer, sir.
Boston Celtics, Al Horford. How many games do you think he's played in his career with never making the finals?
89.
No, one more pick. It's a little higher than that.
95.
It is 141 games.
Jesus.
He's played 141 NBA playoff games in his 14-year career and never has played in the finals. So exciting for him.
That's almost 2 seasons. That's almost 2 extra seasons.
I was wowed by that. Imagine how many guys make it to the NBA and don't play that in their career. He has played 141 postseason games in the postseason and never made it to the finals. So he starts Thursday. Hats off to him. That'll be the first time playing in the NBA Finals for Mr. Al Horford, and he plays for Boston. It's the Celtics against the Golden State Warriors. 7 best of 7 games.
Warriors in 6. Warriors in 6.
Is that your call, Warriors in 6?
Right
I don't
now.
have one, but that's interesting.
Print it right now.
It'll be good. Both
So
number
does
1
that
seeds
be done?
knocked out from the East and the West, and no number 1 seeds are left. So it's down to those two teams. Like we said, that'll wrap up. The NHL is going to wrap up. College baseball and softball are the conference finals now done? Is NCAA?
They announced the seats this morning on the Deuce on ESPN2.
We'll cover that then more in depth next week on the show.
You'll see that on social media throughout the week. Get the ESPN app so you catch the games during the day. Not to take away from your job at work. Of course, you're at work to work, but something to listen to or have on your phone to check the scores every now and then.
And for amateur baseball, town ball, they're over the hump of those first couple of week 1, week 2 playing non-conference exhibition scrimmage games. To say they still count, but they're still. Now we're getting into the league action. Now this week, things are going to get interesting, and you'll see those standings bounce around to reflect that. It's going to get good, and guys who play college baseball that aren't in the tournament are going to be home now playing on their local hometown teams, and it's going to be fun to watch this time of year.
Yep. Follow us on Twitter. We'll be sharing everybody's posts, local teams, Kip's posts to retweet. The local teams we follow, retweet their scores and schedules. So follow us on Twitter, Sports and Songs 1 on Twitter.
Awesome. Have a good week, everybody.
Yeah. See ya.